Welcome to Anxiety, the podcast all about anxiety, depression, and today we're gonna not be slobs anymore. We're gonna get our shit together. Here's what I mean. Have you ever had very easy tasks you just keep putting off? And maybe it's not easy, but they're minuscule chores that in the grand scheme of things don't take that long to complete, but in your head just feel like the weight of 10 years of work? Yeah, those things are really annoying. And lately, I have been trying to find ways to motivate myself to get them done. And so one of my favorite things to do is I will pop on a show or a podcast or an audiobook, and I give myself until the end of the video or the chapter or what have you. And by the end of that, the goal is that I will have either completed the task or I've at least made a really big dent in it. And then it's okay if I don't finish, but I have to give it my all. I have to give it a little try. And so I thought, hey, holy cow, I have a podcast. And since I have to sit here and record and I can't do other things, even though this is, I guess, what this would be the task. Whoa, wait, that's like a podcast session. Me doing this is actually me completing a chore. Anyway, I figured since I'm the one with the podcast, perhaps I can motivate you to get your task/chore done. And so here's what I want you to do. I want you to stand up and I want you to look around wherever you are, because I'm sure there's something that you need to do that you haven't done. Here are some examples for me. I need to take out the trash. I need to take out the recycling. I need to at least do a load of dishes, if not, to clean the kitchen counters, clean the toilet, do some laundry, vacuum. This is sounding like a lot more work, but don't worry about all of it. Just choose one. Choose one of these things, and you're going to do it while you listen to the podcast. And what am I going to provide for you? I'm going to share some of my favorite things. Ooh, I have great taste in things. Did that sound convincing? I always love watching people's favorite things, episodes, videos, whatever. And I don't know why, because I usually don't have the same taste as them, but it's just satisfying to see someone be filled with happiness, to have such pure joy and be able to find it from material goods, which is my whole thing. I've been trying to find happiness from material goods for a million years now. And I just, I'm still waiting to find the one. That's why I officially got an Amazon credit card. We're just going to keep working on it until that one little crystal lamp sets me free. Okay, so you got it. You got your marching orders. Choose a chore, a task, and I'm about to get to work telling you some of my favorite things. Bum, bum. That's copyrighted to the fucking earth and hell and beyond. Okay. I don't know if I really put this in an order. Fuck it. I don't know. But something that's been helping me relax lately is having background music or videos. Now, it's kind of hard for what I do to have background noise. Obviously, I do a lot of audio and video work now. And I think one of the biggest plights of being a podcaster is you can't listen to other things while you edit, because you have to be listening to what you are listening to. It drives me insane. It makes me sad. I curse this hobby. Anyway, but one thing I can do is I can play nice looking videos on my monitor or the laptop, and it's just a nice visual. And so my favorite thing I have found is a video on YouTube, and it's called 3 Hours of Amazing Nature Scenery and Relaxing Music for Stress Relief. And I have the link below in the show notes, along with timestamps if there's anything particular you want to skip to. But this video was taken by the person who uploaded it, and this guy must be a travel photographer or something, because these videos are all around the world, and it is breathtaking. If you miss travel, to me, it just felt like I was actually getting to go there. There was this beautiful comment, actually. Hold on. Someone left this beautiful comment on the video. Imagine if you could just fly away from everything and everyone right now and go to any of these places and just sit down and take it all in. So for me, this video is actually a very meditative experience. Each different scene that pops up, it's a new place. My breath is taken away, which I guess to me is weird, in a way where, I don't know, for me, it's kind of like I'm not as wowed by some things like that. Like I don't know what's been happening. I think like inner pioneer Elaine has been coming out because I've just been having these moments where I pause and go, I am so thankful that we have access to the internet because I have so many questions and I'm able to find the answer instantly. Like before, I would have just not ever known. I would have just had to go about my life never knowing. And like there's so many things that we have easy access to that other people didn't. I mean, I don't know. So I'm having like pioneer Elaine moments. And so when I look at these like images, I don't know, like I said, he did such a good job filming it and it like moves throughout as though you're like walking through there or like flying over it. Anyway, I'm obsessed. That would be another great thing to put on in the background if you're doing something boring and you just need something calming. Oh, here's some tea. This will lead me to my next favorites. How about that? CVS is my new favorite. Walgreens can burn in hell. I said it. I had a recent altercation with my Walgreens. Now, here's the issue. My Walgreens has kind of been a dick from the get-go. I haven't had great experiences, and this Walgreens did not disappoint in that area, I guess you could say. They've just never been great at customer service or any kind of follow-through or any kind of help in general. I've gone through a lot of different like medication changes, dosing changes. I had to switch insurance. Each time they have not been helpful. The Walgreens across town are the most angelic human beings I've ever met. They were incredibly nice. I drove an extra 40 minutes to talk to them when I was having an issue and they stayed with me and they called so many other people and they were able to get me the answer. But the other Walgreens just didn't. Like they actively told me the wrong thing. It's kind of like a Wicked Witch of the Walgreens and then a Wall Glenda kind of dynamic. Anyway, who cares? I don't care. They all can go away. I don't like them. So recently I had to do a refill on my prescription, but since I've quit my job, I had to get different health insurance. And so turns out Walgreens doesn't play with my health insurance. Who knew? It's like a name brand. So I guess, I don't know. I'm not like in a farmer co-op though. Like that would be kind of fun, right? Ooh, I don't like carrots though. Anyway, so I was trying to get this refill and they were like, oh, the insurance actually doesn't work. I'd recommend go talk to like CVS or something. You connect with them and they'll set up the transfer. They'll talk to us. And I was like, okay. And my heart was aflutter because CVS has always been my favorite pharmacy. Like that's where I was when I witnessed an armed robbery. Like that's how close you become to something. You know, it's like, damn CVS, we've been through it together. That's a whole other story. But CVS, I don't know. I like the color red. There's just something more homely to me about CVS, just the familiarity. And so I didn't know that there was a CVS near me. I guess these things are everywhere, but like there's one within a reasonable distance that I could go to that wouldn't like be me going 40 minutes out of my way to the other Walgreens, right? So that was at least a nice surprise because I was like, I don't want to have to go a really long way when I inevitably forget to give enough time for a refill. Like, I don't want to say that this last time I waited until the last second. Like, I'm picking up the prescription today and my last pill was yesterday. But it's fine. Hypothetically, I don't have the emotional strength to deal with anything else going wrong. But anyway, back to the story. Walgreens says, no, I go to CVS. I fill out a transfer confirmation online. It goes through. This happens at like noon. And then I get a random call from quote unquote my local pharmacy, which at this point, since I've just filled out a form, I assume is from CVS. And it's like, oh, like we're having issues with your insurance, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, well, I did just try to update it with Walgreens. And when they plugged it in, they said it didn't work. So maybe they didn't officially put it in my information so CVS would have it. And so I call CVS and I'm like, hey, I think I need to update my insurance information with you. And they're like, we don't see any transfer request. And I was like, oh, but then the nice lady was like, you know what, though, it might be coming through later. We have a lot of things going on. I can just go ahead and take your information down just in case. So cool. That's like 1:00. It's been an hour since I submitted my transfer. I decided to check in around 4:00 because they said it could take up to 4 hours. So I call at 4:00 and I get put on hold for 30 minutes at CVS. I'm like, what the fuck? At this point, I'm mad at CVS. And I'm just waiting and waiting. You know, because I originally was told I wasn't in the system. And now I'm like, did I even go in the system again? Like yesterday was my last pill in the dose. And this is not one where I can casually just like cold turkey for like a week. That's not how we do it here. So then I hang up because I feel like I've been forgotten by CVS and all my abandonment issues are coming back. And so I immediately call them back. I talked to someone within 2 minutes, so I was forgotten. And it's my lady, my lovely lady. I don't know if she was a pharmacist. Let's just call her a pharmacist. Congratulations. So I'm talking to the pharmacist and she says, well, we haven't heard from Walgreens, so I would call them. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then we hung up and I was like, that's it? I thought you were supposed to do the transfer. I have to call Walgreens now? I'm like, why do I have to be the one steering this ship? I thought y'all would talk to each other. Why am I? Anyway, so at that point, I'm like, okay, time to call Walgreens again. And this is where I feel a lot of pain. At this point, I thought Walgreens was the good guy and CVS was the bad guy. I was considering just going to a whole different pharmacy, even if it meant it would be a trek. And this is just like one of my biggest regrets of life. So a moment of silence. Okay. I call Walgreens and I tell whoever answers the phone the whole situation. She's very nice. She's like, oh, well, we did send the transfer through, so I'm not sure what's going on. I was like, okay, well, it's probably just like a system error on their end. And I hang up and I'm feeling defeated because it's been like a 5 to 6 hour process at this point for me to figure out what's going on with me hitting a simple button saying, please take this prescription and just move it here. I was already signed up with CVS. Like I used to get prescriptions from them. So it's not like I was this whole new entity. It's just like, just copy paste, please. I'm sure there's more to it than that. But I was like, it shouldn't be that hard. So at that point, my next step was going to be to call another CVS in the area and double check if I had accidentally submitted it there, even though I feel like I should have still gotten automated messages from any CVS saying like, we're good. So I'm like, okay, whatever the fuck, I don't know. And then I procrastinated because I'm like, I've talked to so many people at this point and I've gone through so many phone menus and like every awful royalty-free orchestral music has broken my eardrums. But then something beautiful happens. 15 minutes later into my defeat, where I literally was sitting at my desk, just staring at my monitor, being like, what's the point? What do I do now? I get a call from CVS and they go, hey, I just want to let you know like the transfer did go through and we should have that for you tomorrow. That means that when I called Walgreens, all but the 10 to 15 minutes earlier, and they were like, oh yeah, it looks like the transfer went through. How funny that they said that. And then immediately CVS is able to call me back and be like, oh, we just got it. Are you shitting me right now, Walgreens? Are you shitting me? My microphone is running away. That's how pissed it is. Don't play me like that. The final kick when I was on the ground, the final destruction of my being and my soul. Sorry, this was supposed to be like favorite things and I just went on like an angry rant. Okay, back to nice, lovely things. So I love to break up my podcast listening with books. I think that listening and reading to books is a very helpful way to kind of engage the mind in storytelling. And it's a really easy way for me to try out different genres. And recently I have been, and by recently I mean like the past couple of years, there's something that happens when you're in school where you're just shown all this pretentious shit written by white sexist assholes. And like you just kind of get like sick of it. And you think that like, oh, well, if I don't read really pretentious books, then everyone thinks I'm stupid. And now I'm like, I don't fucking care. Like a book is a book. Like a book can be like a trash romance novel and still be good. Like the whole point is, can you tell a story and entice someone with it? Done. There are different kinds of ways to do it. And that's that. So for me, I like to use two apps. They are Hoopla and Libby. That's Hoopla and Libby. And these are apps that hook up with your library card, which free. I believe everyone's library card should be free, but if it's not, it's like not expensive, but hypothetically free. And the apps are free and you can plug that in and then the entire library catalog is there for you to peruse as ebooks or audiobooks. So for me, I really loved having Audible. It was fun. I was able to have like all the originals and go through, but like I'm on a budget. And it was fun to dabble in Audible while I could. But like Hoopla and Libby, honestly, like they have the books there. You just might have to wait if someone checked it out. But usually I put a lot of things on hold and then I find the things I currently want to read anyway and I can time it out. And honestly, the difference between that and like $12 per month, like if you're on a budget, it's doable. You can do it. And so I love using Hoopla and Libby. It's how I've been able to like keep my like book engagement up. And also with Hoopla, they have access to movies you can rent like directly from the app. So that's been a nice change of pace. And I don't know, I would just really recommend getting with your library. The libraries are free. They offer a lot of great resources. I've been looking up a lot of business books on both of these apps. I'm just trying to make myself a smarter cookie. I feel like oatmeal cookies are the smartest, right? And we all know chocolate chip is that dumb bitch. Sugar cookie is the man whore, but it's fine. It's fine. We love cookies anyway. While we're on the book train, I am going to defend. Actually, here's something that's happened to me. I came across a series of books. Now, I've been on like a really cheesy romance book streak so far because they're just happy and they're silly and they're not stressful. And I just needed something in my life like that. Like there's still conflict and it's still interesting to read, but the overall premise is moderately ridiculous and just brings me joy. And that's all I want right now. And so I'm okay. I'm okay with a suspension of disbelief. Like I'm okay letting certain things happen that maybe like in normal life 100% would never happen. But I came across this series that I actually hated. It's the Moose Spring series by Sarah Morgenthaler. And the first book was just so cliche and there were just, I don't know, too many like things and phrases. I was like, I just like can't see this. But I gave it 3 stars because I listened to it all the way through on Goodreads. I'm a big snob about my Goodreads ratings. No one else has the same rating system I feel like that I do. I reserve my 5s for ultimate, like I would actually reread this book because I don't reread books. I'm like, I would reread this or I'm a changed person. So most of the time people get 4s. And then if I give you 3, it's not necessarily like a bad thing. It's just more like, yeah, this was okay. And I still enjoyed reading it, but like, mediocre. So I almost gave the first book in the Moose Spring series a 2, but then I realized I had kind of binged it. So I was like, I guess you can earn that extra star, but I didn't love it. And then there was a second book and I was like in a dry spell. I had like gone through the last few searches I'd have of my like book queue. And so I was like, fine, we'll do the second book. I binged through that and I was like, okay, well, I kind of still hate myself, but I guess I'll give you 3 stars. And now I'm in the 3rd book of the Moose Spring series and it's actually good. Like Sarah Morgenthaler really grew as a writer. Like with each of these books, I'm seeing her get better. And now I guess I'm on the ride because Moose Springs, I hate to say this, y'all, the 4th book, I haven't even finished it. It's going to get 4 stars from me. I have 3 hours left in the audiobook and I'm telling you, it's going to be a 4-star book. And I just don't know how I feel about that. I'm all about people's journey. I love her growth, but like, what is this? I don't know. There's just like a lot of like self-searching I've had to do recently. And this is just like one of those things. But anyway, I would highly recommend just like diving into some cheesy, cute romance novels. Okay, let's get into organization because I'm sure like one of the chores and tasks you might be doing involves cleaning because some people enjoy cleaning and some people put it off for all eternity and just pretend it's not a thing and live in their own filth. So I am totally not that person. But what do you call it? It's not a boudoir, but in the master bedroom I stay in, I have one of those like sink counter things outside of the bathroom with a mirror. So I guess boudoir is the best thing I can call it. My makeup station, putting on my face. But it's usually chaotic. So I love eyeshadow. I love makeup. I think it's really fun to play with. And so I have an obscene amount of eyeshadow palettes. I guess it's not as bad as like other people who might say that, but I have like 10 and they're pretty bulky. Like they aren't tiny little boxes. I'm talking, these are like clutch sized. They're pretty big. And so I have done my best to organize them. But things always explode. And I had like all of my hair shit there, all of my skincare, all of my makeup, all of my brushes, just trying to fit it on this tiny little counter. And it wasn't going well. And again, I'm not great at cleaning because I've just never worked to create those routines. I found that that's the big thing. It's not that you're not capable of cleaning, y'all, because clearly if you're like me, you sometimes have that one day where you just have to spend like 3 hours on everything and you get a fresh start. But that's not ideally how you would do it because that's pretty extensive. It's not that you don't know how to clean, you just don't have a routine in place. Or for me, I just didn't know where homes were, as it turns out, or I had ambiguous homes. So like everything gets dumped in one crate. Well, the crate then overflows and then there's chaos, right? So for me, I realized I had too many things going on in this tiny area and that I was just like living in chaos. I didn't have to. And so I was at TJ Maxx. It was the first time I'd gone in over a year and a half. And I saw these really cute boxes. I have been raised to never buy a box. Why would you buy a box? They're everywhere. Okay. But these were cute. They had patterns. They had the little magnetic like closing thing, which is just so fun to play with. And I don't know, they were fun. One had like cute little tigers on it and the other one had lemons. And I was just vibing with it. And I don't know why. I was like, I have to have these boxes and I can't leave here without it, which is just the magic of TJ Maxx. I ended up getting these boxes. I brought them home and I was like, I am going to use this on my chaotic, gross ass counter. And so I moved my hair shit into the bathroom because I didn't need it there. And I just put all my palettes. They fit into the box perfectly. And now I have so much room. It's nice. So I would recommend getting some boxes. I now have a wooden box for all of my recording equipment now because I have a lot of stupid cords. I hate cords. They all fucking mingle up together and then I'm left there for another 10 minutes trying to separate them and I never do it right. If you couldn't hear it, my allergies are just thriving right now. Oh man. You know what clears the sinuses though? The Taco Bell spicy potato taco. I have never partaken in this. And then in my Taco Bell app, I had a free food reward and it was to get a free spicy potato taco. And I'm here to say it is officially my new favorite thing on the menu. I love you, Cheesy Gordita. We had a great run. But the Taco Bell spicy potato taco, the sauce they have to make it spicy was so good. I was genuinely shocked. Because I love my T-belt, but I know what it is. It's trash, fast Mexican byproduct, I guess. Like I don't even know if you can call it Mexican food. It's ingredients quickly made. But that shit, y'all, it was so good. And I like the potato, it worked really well. Nothing was mushy. I thought it was going to taste stupid, but it was like a good kick. It has a good kick to it. I'm working on part of the secret project with Cameron tonight. And fun fact, I have been dropping riddles on my Instagram stories for people to try to guess what I'm doing. And they're so evil. They're so mean. Like they're hard. And people are getting like most of it right, but they haven't, no one yet has come up with the full answer. Because so far they've been riddles and guesses on what the name of the project is that I'm working on. And it's just so evil. And I never knew I could write a riddle. And I'm not saying I'm good at it. Like most people hate me, which is kind of the vibe I want with a riddle. Like if people aren't pissed at you, you haven't done it right. But I never knew that was inside of myself. And so, yeah, I'm dropping riddles. So that's a new favorite thing for me. Dropping riddles. You all know I love a mystery. Why don't I just do that more often with my life? Hi, IRS. Here's a riddle for you. You know what I owe you, yet you make me do it. What this is feels ways have it's taxing. Never mind. I can't. In terms of like hangover items and hydration, I have recently been introduced to Liquid IV. That sounds kind of scary. And to be honest, I'm on day 2 of just giving it a whirl. And so I have no idea what kind of health shit it may or may not be doing. So I'm not a professional, but I will say Liquid IV, it's basically what I've gathered, a healthier version of what a Gatorade or a Powerade would do for you. And it works better, at least in my opinion. So it's a little packet and you put it in your water, you stir it up, and it instantly hydrates you to a beautiful level. Like you just feel normal again. And it's a natural energy boost, like the way that, like with caffeine, I want to feel that, but caffeine makes me anxious and it's not good. And I was celebrating not having coffee for a year and a half. And then one of my friends DM'd me and she's like, it's like, what's the difference between that and your Diet Coke? And I was like, you came for me. damn, I came out here and you decided war. Because it's kind of true. Caffeine does have like 80 to 100 milligrams of caffeine, whereas like a soda has 29. So I can pace myself better, and also just like the heat of it. But this is all mostly me making excuses that yes, I have a Diet Coke problem, which is also not good for me. Anyways, the liquid IV packet though, it gives me the like, I'm here vibe without being like, I'm here. It comes with any kind of caffeinated thing. So I would definitely recommend that, especially if you participate in the devil's juice. Like we say devil's lettuce, but I don't think we should ever say devil's juice. I am so sorry. Okay, last few favorite items. I guess I have to name some music. I love this song. I have no idea how to say the artist name. It's mxmtoon, like literally mxmtoon, and it's the song Fever Dream, and it just embodies spring and happiness, and I love it. And I actually have a playlist called Hippo Moon Tick, which is me being stupid. It's my hypomanic playlist. So basically, if I feel like I'm going off the rails and feeling too energetic, these are songs that are happy but calming. They have like a lower beats per minute. Like I don't have the urge to stand up and start pacing to them. Like they're just lovely background songs. And this is on that playlist, Fever Dream. It's so lovely. And then I also cannot stop listening to the bonus track on Evermore, Taylor Swift's Right Where You Left Me. It is like the perfect country, almost Irish ballad, not ballad, but folklore kind of song. Like if you know like any of the like, you know, Wild Rover or whatever, I mean, it doesn't sound like that, but there's just a really good story with it. And it's just easy to pick up on. I don't know how to describe it, but Right Where You Left Me is somehow, I think, one of my top 3 favorite songs ever. And I can't explain it to you, but that's where I am. I don't know why I'm heavily sighing. I just never knew I liked Taylor Swift. Like I'm one of those people who I just was like, oh yeah, I'm not a huge Taylor fan, but I just happen to know what's happening with her. And every time she releases music, I give it a go. Like, what's that about? But I never knew I was, or I don't even know if I would still call myself a fan, but 1989 came out and I was like, yeah, I like this. And then Folklore came out and I absolutely loved it. I know the rest of the world did, but like depressing shit is my jam. Like This Is Me Trying was my top song of 2020, and that album came out in July. There were just times like my friend who's a huge Taylor Swift fan, she would bring up things and I'd be like, oh yeah, I know about that. And I would like go back on albums. I'm like, oh, I actually know like 10 out of the 14 songs on here. You don't just casually know these things, guys. Like you have to you're invested to some degree. So I think I've just unknowingly for a while, like really enjoyed Taylor Swift. And it's 2020 and 2021. These, I feel like, are the years we're figuring out who we are and we're accepting who we are. And so for me, it's like, yeah, sure, bipolar disorder, fine. But like me accepting that I am a fan of Taylor Swift, it's still hard to say. It's still hard to say. My last favorite thing is my dog. She's cute and she needs a bath, but I'm trying to teach her to roll over, and Fern is a Whippet mix. So she's very bouncy and oddly proportioned. I don't think the physics are against her, but I'm trying to give her maybe some reason why this is impossible for her to understand. So I've broken down the training. So she knows how to do belly. That's where she like lays down. So we're at least halfway through a rollover. And then I try to do the thing, what you're supposed to do when you teach a dog to roll over is you take the treat in their face and then you slowly swoop your arm in the direction of like, oh yeah, and then follow my arm, except that Fern Best does not do this. She will follow it and then quickly flip the other way. It's just a her thing. She doesn't make sense. I've tried it many different times and she just can't. I even try to like pick her up gently and she still just reverse flips. I don't get it. So I guess she'll just never roll over. She'll just belly flop and I accept it. Okay, so stop what you're doing. How much did you get done? How do you feel about what you're doing? Do you feel good that you at least got some of it done? Yeah, me too. I'm glad I got recording done. I actually am doing this on a Friday morning, which is a new thing I'm trying to do to give myself like a chance. A chance in the coming week. So I'm glad that we both got things done. Oh, so good. Let me know what chore you completed. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at AngusIT. You can go to www.angusit.com to peek the show notes of this episode. Also, do you want to support this podcast? Consider my Patreon then. Patreon.com/AngusIT. I have 3 tiers, the lowest one starting at $1. A big thank you to my patrons, Katie and OT, Vanessa, Taylor, Rachel, and Laura. Thank you so much for your patronage, and I hope that you all go to Taco Bell and get that spicy potato taco. It's gonna fuck up and change your life, and I hope you get boxes. I hope you get really cute boxes when you go out to get your Taco Bell, and you pick up like a really cheesy romance novel, and you play 3 hours of amazing nature scenery and relaxing music for stress relief in the back while you read this and drink a fine glass of wine. The next day you have your liquid IV, and then you play a beautiful song. And with that, I will talk to you next Wednesday. Bye, Heifers.